Hello, I'm Marc Sumner, host of the Channel Chat podcast show, and today I have the pleasure of Daniel Bumby, the MD of Simoda, in the studio. How are we doing, Daniel?
Absolutely fantastic. Apart from the weather is awful, but at least we're dry in here. I'm good.
Great. And you've come down from Sheffield today, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
And you told me that, and this, I was actually really shocked for the listeners. It is only a 2-hour train straight to London.
2 hours on the train, East Midlands Railway. It's not the most reliable, I'm not going to say that, but it is, yeah, it's easy peasy. Down here all the time, to be fair. At least 2-3 times a month.
Really? Okay. Now, Daniel, I normally look through someone's LinkedIn profile, and I had a look at yours, and I'm actually going to quote your profile here, because I looked at your first job, and I looked at it, and you were an office administrator, is your first job, and it says, quote, from your LinkedIn profile, cutting out pictures of newspapers and music mags and making brews for the odd musical legend. So, for the listeners of the IT channel, I'll put my phone down now. Listeners of the IT channel, can you tell me what that was all about? How did that come about?
Exactly what it says on the tin. I literally spent every single day reading through newspapers, and any time I saw a picture or an article that included the record label's name or the artist's name, cut it out, stick it in a piece in a magazine or on a piece of paper, and use that as a press pack for people. So this before we had the lovely internet, and that, oh yes, I am that old, but before we had the lovely internet and before we had intelligent things, we used to have to photocopy stuff. So yeah, I used to do that all the time, spend a bit of time in the stock room, and then one day the owner said, we just want to pop in and come and have a chat with this guy. Yeah, not a problem. So I walked in, had a chat with him, sat down, says he make him a coffee. So I got up, made him a coffee, white, 2 sugars. Remember that one. Made him a coffee, had a chat, and then went home. My mum says to me, yeah, what did you go up to? I think I just made a coffee for some guy called Dave Gilmour. Pink Floyd, or like, it's one of them things, you know.
He was in Sheffield.
Yeah, he came to Sheffield to see the owner of the record label that we got. Made him a coffee. Yeah, it's just, do you know what? It's one of those things. I loved the music industry. I really wanted to go down that route in terms of my career.
What did you think you'd do then? What did you think you'd do as a career in the music industry?
Music management. I also did DJing, and still do a bit of DJing and music producing and stuff at the minute. I own 2 record labels. My business partner in that actually lives in Ibiza, so Sheffield or Ibiza? Yeah. I don't know where I'd rather go.
Yeah, I know where I'd rather go.
yeah,
Sheffield.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah. So I've always been in the music side of stuff. I really wanted to go down that career, but then I just got a job. Started working, enjoyed getting paid, earning money, and then sort of fell into the IT industry from car insurance. So selling car insurance, sat aside of a friend who's actually works for us now.
Right. So
he works at Simoda, a guy called Christian, who was one of our managers, and we used to sit and play chess while selling car insurance on the phone. Phenomenal. Brilliant times. And then just ended up when got a job at Insight.
So how did that come about? You're selling insurance for, was it Norwich Union?
Yeah, Norwich Union.
Playing chess part-time while doing closing deals.
Poorly.
Did you enjoy that job?
I did. I loved Norwich Union for the fact that the people that work there, the environment, the people that work there, it was a great grounding. Because before that I went to the post office, so we'll scrap that part of my career. Went to the post office for a while.
But doing what? Doing what in the post office?
I used to sit at a desk, right, and letters would come in front of me, and I'd have to type the postcode, and they'd go through a machine. It's as mind-numbingly boring as it sounds. But do you know what? That was a good place to work for the people as well, and the camaraderie. But then moving into Norwich Union, I sort of fell into sales, never really wanted to do that. Found it really interesting. Jobs came up at Insight. They just bought choice peripherals. And I thought, do you know what? Why not give it a go? IT. My dad worked in IT for years, from the steel factories into IT, senior leadership in different businesses. I thought, do you know what? I'm going to give it a go.
Did he inspire you to go into IT?
Not really. Sorry,
He
Dad.
shouldn't be listening to this now.
Sorry,
Dad.
He'll watch this back and go, oh, got to. Now, to be fair, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was younger, other than music and probably just go out boozing and chase women and stuff like that, as you do as you're a kid. But then, do you know what? I fell into the sales piece, and then I went from that into the technology bit with Insight. But still, sales, I didn't really enjoy it that much. I was really interested in the vendor side of stuff and the marketing and building relationships, but selling laptops and stuff I just found it quite boring.
But you pursued a career in IT. I'm not interested in. You pursued a career in IT. So take me through after you left Insight.
Yeah, so I went to a company, a brand new company, was setting up an e-commerce business. They wanted a corporate sales team. So I set that up and did a couple of £1 million revenue in the first year. Really good. They didn't want to pay bills, so they went under. And then I went to join a company called Highlander, based in Sheffield, who were a small managed services business at that point, selling IT support contracts locally. Then built their UK-wide sales division. And then that was, joined the board in 2009, left there in 2017. I got a bit frustrated with a few things that was happening there, and strategy-wise and visionary technology-focused. They weren't really that bothered about that sort of stuff at that time. They were going different directions. So I went to work at a company called Millgate. I'll not say what I want to say about them at this point, because I don't think that's fair. But in terms of, that was a good grounding. I got a good chance to meet a lot of people. Quite a few people that we work with already that are in Simoda. They're good people, and literally spent 18 months there trying to persuade their business to change. When they didn't want to change, I went, do you know what? I'm not going to swear, but I've got to do it myself.
You had that epiphany moment,
yeah.
You thought,
you know what?
I'm doing it. I'm just putting my
balls on the line. Let's go.
You had to. I was going to say it. Then I was going to say it. I thought I shouldn't say that. No. You're going to put your balls on the line and you're going to go for it.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Beans on toast for a few years. Like, do you know what? Let's do it. And I think that's the best approach. So,
what did your wife say? What did your family say? Because they must have thought you had I was looking at your career. You had a really good career. You had some senior jobs, and then you just threw it all. You just thought, I'm going to go for it.
Do you know it's interesting with my missus that she believes in whatever I believe in. And if I think it's right, and I've proved over my career that what I've done has worked. So she basically said to me, do you know what? It'll work. I'm sure it'll work. If it doesn't, go and get a job. I went, do you know what? You're right. Let's do it. Let's do this. Sat with Jason Garner, who was a commercial director, who was at Millgate with me. Sat in my back bedroom, talking about what we wanted to do, where we're going to go, what's the vision of the business, how do we want getting on the phone and speaking.
Is that before your wife gave you beans on toast? Or?
No, that's before. That's before we were having pot of noodles for lunch. That's another story. I'll go into that one another time. But we had a really, really concrete plan of what we wanted to do at that point, and we said, do you know what? Let's give it a go. And he'd given up a really well-paid job.
Was there no apprehension? Was there thinking, you've both given up 2 good paid jobs, salaries, you've been able to sort of put your mortgages, pay going out, all that sort of stuff. You've both given up your jobs.
I'm a longer term focused person, so I knew that we get through the first couple of years, we'll be good. The vision's right, the strategy's right, everything we want to do focus wise is right. It's about taking that journey, and again, if I didn't do it now, I would have never have done it, because I had the opportunity a few years back before to do it and just didn't really have the balls to do it at that point.
What gave you the courage this time?
Because it's now or never.
Really?
Yeah, I was either going to work for somebody and forge a career out and retire at 65 and, go and work pushing trolleys in Sainsbury's or Asda or something while I flitter off, or just do something that I really believe in. And I just thought, why not? Let's do it.
One of the comments you made earlier about is you didn't like the sort of sales side of it, you didn't like being a salesperson. And I wondered if that was instrumental in how you've set up Simoda, because you told me something interesting over lunch that I don't know any reseller or partner or solutions provider is doing. Your salespeople are not on bonuses or commission. Tell the listeners that. How did that come about?
That came about. I've always looked at technology as an enabler for business. So if that's the case, what's the barrier to a business buying technology? It's generally the salesperson's commission structure. I'm a salesperson and I'm going to sell you whatever I need to sell you to achieve my quota this month, this quarter, to get my bonus. That might not be the right thing. It could be the wrong technology. Most of the time, it's probably the right technology. However, in cases that I've definitely seen, it's the wrong technology. So for me, I thought, do you know what? Can we do something different? If we took money off the table, what does that mean for the customer, first and foremost? That's straight away, what's it mean for the customer? We're dealing with IT people, with business leaders. They don't want to be sold to. They don't want salespeople having to sell them something to make their quota. They want the right technology. They want the business outcome. If we want to focus on business outcomes, we've got to get rid of money off the table for the salesperson. To do that, we said, do you know what? Let's just pay them at 100%. Let's pay them as though they've earned their bonus before they've even picked up the phone or been to a meeting.
I want to come work for you, Daniel, now. He's like, so I don't have to hit my quota. I'm just going to come and work for you and just be an evangelist of technology.
I think that what we've tend to find, the first few months was difficult. First sort of 6-9 months, it was a hard slog. But there's a tipping point where the conversations became more about from trying to pay the bills to being actually more strategical and long term. That's why we're succeeding with HB Greenlake. It's why we're succeeding with the service delivery element that we do, the contractual services that we do, because we're focused on what's right for the customer rather than what's right for the salesperson. Typically, what's right for a salesperson who's on a monthly bonus structure is selling something that's in stock or available that's going to be delivered that month, so they get invoiced. Let's get rid of that. We don't need to do that. That's not the way that we should operate. Not many other businesses do that. If you look at like a creative organisation, they don't have quotas for delivering creative business for people. It's part of the structure, it's part of how they work. So let's see, can we get that in place? And first and foremost, we need to find the right people. So we've got the right people in place at the minute. And the next challenge is, how do we find more people that fit that model? Because we don't want a salesperson that comes to me and says, yeah, I can smash my number every single month and I have done for the last 6 years, and probably not a right fit for us. You're probably not the right fit. So it was an interesting way to work. We put all the investment that we made in the first year or two back into the business, back into the people, and we really, really, really value training and development. So if you look through our LinkedIn posts, you look at some of our staff on LinkedIn, they're always posting out what training they've done because it's part of their educational process. They need to understand technology. They need to build relationships. They don't need to worry about hitting commission, structured bonuses. We've still got numbers to hit. We still need to be profitable, but we do that in the right way.
You had a post recently on LinkedIn, and I remember seeing it, and it's a saying that happens quite a lot in the industry all throughout the world about culture eats strategy for breakfast. What do you specifically mean by that, and what advice would you give to someone that's trying to emulate that in their career?
You can have the most fantastic strategical business direction, business plan, absolutely everything. But if the people aren't right and the culture's not right in the organisation, i.e. we talk about healthy conflict. So we really encourage healthy conflict. So, and it's got to be done in the right way. So if you've got a problem with me, let's talk about it. I'm not bothered. Do you know what I mean? Does it not bother you? Does it? No, not at all. Just listen. If you got something to sell, let's get out in the open. Let's have a chat. Let's have a scrap, and then let's move on. Let's because you know what? If you get the culture right, the strategy tags along. But if you get the culture wrong, the strategy can break. Simple process, and it's still about people. It's still about building relationships internally, and it's still about getting the right people doing the right thing at the right time, right seat on the bus and all that. So.
Daniel, I said to you there's probably 12,500 partners or solution providers or resellers or whatever you want to call the terminology in the UK. How do you ensure that you stand out in such a competitive marketplace?
It's about the communication we have with people. We're building relationships. It's about making sure that we put the right technology in front of people. So although we are we're not an agnostic technology business, I don't think there's any such thing as an agnostic partner, because you always have relationships. But it's all about the right technology solutions. So I'm categorically will say that when we build a relationship with a customer, we'll add value. And if we can add value, we can demonstrate that. Demonstrate adding value, we can compete with anybody. So I did hear something not long back, and it was it's the big don't eat the small. It's the fast that eat the slow, and that's us, exactly us. So we're fast, agile, and if something needs to happen and we need to change it, or we need to do something that focuses on a business outcome, we'll do it. We'll go for it.
And as I was scrolling past through your LinkedIn profile, I thought also there was a post about Action Coach.
Oh yeah.
So tell me about that. You did a recent video. You're working with those guys. What does that involve, and how did that help shape your business?
There's Action Coach is a group of business coaches. I think it's around the globe, to be fair. But in Sheffield, we've got a guy called John Asquith, who's our business coach, and he I think he works with about 150, 160 other businesses locally. Just a bit of a community, a bit of a network, and he gives us direction in terms of just basic stuff around things like marketing, around sales development, and just keeping us on track. And he'll pay me for this, but he's a really good guy. He's a Sheffield United fan, so I'll give him half my I'll give him some credit.
Blades fan.
Yeah, exactly. He's a Blades fan. So, but as an organisation, Action Coach are brilliant. They really keep us on track. And some of the development that we're getting from them in terms of the leadership development and the people development is phenomenal. And the community is really, really important. We're just doing an opportunity with one of their customers, another Action Coach business. So we're creating a community around everybody. And it's fantastic. I would recommend it to anybody.
Because one of the things I noticed when we spoke before about, you're pretty hot on relationships, aren't you? Because I said to you, and again, this is not being disrespectful, but when you started that business in 2019, what track record have you got? Why would people go with you? Yeah. Daniel's a nice guy, but has he got any track record? Yes, he's done it before at other companies, but he's got no pedigree of doing it for himself. So how did people trust you? How did people go with you?
Do you know, it's no bullshit approach. Let's be honest. This business is simple if you break it down into chunks. You know, if you've got the right offerings and you've got the right people and you don't talk shit and actually you do what you say you're going to do, then why wouldn't people work with you? You'd be surprised at some of the companies that we're working with, at what level they're in, what level they're at, and where they are. We had a customer of ours recently, a few months back, ask us to set up an office in New York because they want to deal with us in America. I'm like, well, hold on a minute. We're not quite there yet. Yeah. I'm not saying we won't do, but we're not quite there yet. Let's take a step back and let's see where we go. But that, to me, is testament to what we're doing and why we're doing it. And it's really, really important that we keep working with customers and get their feedback.
What happens when, that's a good example, what happens when you get a customer where you think you can't deal with them, whether they want to talk about a New York office or they want a global proposition or whatever it is? Are you the type of organisation just say, look, can't do it? Do you recommend someone else, or what do you do?
Depends on where it is, but I'd happily recommend. So partnerships are massive. Of a business of our size, we'll thrive on partnerships. So we look across our technology stack, and there's certain areas that we will not do and we don't want to do. So software development's a prime example. So businesses can consume their AWS and Azure and Google through us. We can do some optimization, management, workflow, all that, but we will not build applications and services for them. But we've got partners that we work with within our local area that across the whole of the UK that do that really, really well. So let's just work closely with them. I'd much rather say no to something that we can't do and we don't want to do and pass it off to somebody else that can actually do that. Otherwise, you're just going to ruin your customer relationship. We've got to be wary of where we are. Not to say that in the future we won't want to do certain things, but there's going to be elements of our business that will just go flat no. That comes down to some of the vendors as well. Just like sometimes we will walk away from particular technology sales if it's the wrong vendor or wrong technology, or it just doesn't work. Look, we don't want to do that.
One thing we also spoke about, you recently took on a head of marketing / customer success, I think. Is that right?
Customer relations,
yeah. So recently took on something like that. But they've got a bit of a sustainability angle now, which is a massive topic currently in the IT channel. So tell me about that.
So we see sustainability as a driver that's only going to get stronger. It's corporate mandated. How can we help our customers achieve their sustainability targets? That's just basic things like, are we procuring the right way? Is the customer procuring the right way? Are the services that we're delivering sustainable in terms of and it's not just things like green IT, it is other areas of the business as well. So yeah, we brought the young lady's name's Kate. We brought Kate in to help build that with our customers and help drive sustainability. It's a really big topic. It's something that we're going to do a lot more in over the next sort of 6 to 12 months. But I do believe that underneath our technology stack with the vendors that we're working with, people like HPE, I think we've really got a good sustainability message, and that will continue to drive that through the business.
Daniel, one thing I saw again on LinkedIn, and you could tell me if it's wrong.
It's my LinkedIn.
Yeah, well, I'm having a scowl for it anyway, so that's what I normally do. But I saw that you, and I hope you don't mind me asking, but I noticed that you got recently diagnosed with ADHD. Now, my son's got ADHD. He's on tablets for it. I haven't bothered to go and get a diagnosis. I think I know the answer for that. But how does this affect your day-to-day? And also as well, what made you even go and get a diagnosis?
The diagnosis part was, I've sort of always known, because my stepson's got ADHD and autism, and I sort of always knew, but never went down the road of actually getting a diagnosis. But actually, after a while, I thought, you know what, I might as well go down that route. It'd be interesting to find out what makes me tick. You know, I've got coping mechanisms. So I on my desk, you'll see I've got blue tack. I've got things I fiddle with. I'm a fiddler. Like I'm sat here now, I'm having to the legs across because I'll be all over. But it's the interesting part is how have I got to where I am with that diagnosis or without the diagnosis? I genuinely think no matter what diagnosis you get from whether it's ADHD or whether it's autism, there's always some skills in there. It's about honing the skills and honing them in the right way. So I can hyper focus quite a lot on something. If I think that this is going to work, I'll put my all and soul into it. But also, I feel like I do understand people a little bit more. Because of my diagnosis, I know how people are, and I know how to engage with certain people in certain areas.
Did they recommend medication? How did they?
Yeah, look, it's there's lots of recommendations, but for me, it was about coping mechanisms. So if you have a coping mechanism, mine was lists. I list everything. The missus will tell you, she if I wake up in the morning, I'm like, what we're doing today? I'm like, oh, I'm going to the Asda shopping. It's got to be a list. I'm listing everything.
If you go to Asda, you're doing a shopping list?
Oh, God, yes, a shopping list.
Is that because you buy other stuff? Or
yeah, it's because I'm up to the fairies. Go off, yeah. So, but I think, but the really important bit around that is coping mechanisms. So I did really well with coping mechanisms before I'd done that. And now looking back, I look at some of the, because it's quite publicised now, ADHD. I look back at some of the things that I've done as coping mechanisms, and they're what people tell you to do.
Like what? Give me an example.
Lists.
Yeah.
Ensuring that when you give yourself time to think on stuff, really important. So understand your limitations, know where your strengths are. And that's why, from my personal point in terms of Simoda, I've got a brilliant team around me, because there's stuff that I don't do very well that they do brilliantly.
Did you have to sort of look at one of the things that I, through my son and I struggle with, impulse control? You know, making sort of quick, rash decisions where I'm thinking, damn, didn't think that through. Did you have
I still get that now, but I still get that now, but I've, like I said, the coping mechanism of trying to think about stuff. The worst thing for me is, and it's outside of the IT, so it's impulse buying. Collecting stuff. I've been into Star Wars for years, and I've now started collecting Star Wars stuff again. And yeah, it's crackers, music, all those things. But it also gives you, I think, some really good skills that other people don't have, special powers. That sounds really strange, but I feel that yes, there is some impulsivity in what I do and what I say sometimes, but I've generally thought about what I'm going to say before I say it. I know it sounds crazy being impulsive, but yeah, superpowers. Anybody that's on the spectrum's got superpowers.
Absolutely. That's what I tell my son as well. In November last year, you acquired Data Trainer and added database services, business analytics, automation.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Because I'm looking at thinking, you're just establishing yourself as a business. Then you kind of made a
decision. It's probably not as glamorous as it sounds. However, let's glam it up for you. I met the guy who run Data Trainer at several events in the local area. There's a group in Sheffield called Sheffield Digital, which is digital and technology businesses that form relationships. They used to have a thing called Geek Breakfast. It's exactly what it sounds like. You turn up at a coffee shop on a Friday morning, a load of geeks turn up, you have a coffee and you have a chat about stuff. Simple as that. I met the guy Tim there, who's our head of data intelligence, and we built a relationship. He went and did his own thing with Data Trainer, and then as we built our solution stack out, data was a massive part that was missing. So infrastructure, cloud, cybersecurity, modern workplace, all over it. Absolutely all over it. Data, we partnered with a few people, we did a few little bits, but that was a massive part. And as I'm from an infrastructure background, traditionally, data's a massive part of that. So it was a natural progression to look at Data Trainer, their model, how they work. I mean, do you know what? Why don't we just bring them into the Simoda fold and drive on that way? And so that was a decision that we made, which was for the long-term benefit of the business and for the long-term benefit of the customer strategy. So, and at the minute now, we're just starting to see a real benefit of that. And it's not just database optimization or analytics, process automation, the whole AI piece, and how we can help businesses utilize technology better around data is going really, really well.
So what are the sort of future plans for Simoda as we move into Q4? You know, we're going to be moving into September and then October. What's the plans for the business?
So in terms of ourselves at the moment, we're just moving to a new office in the next couple of weeks or so. So we're going from 2,500 square feet to 7,000 square feet. So yeah, balls on the line. Still
beans on toast for your missus then.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. No, we might go to spaghetti hoops. Spaghetti hoops are a bit more expensive nowadays. We'll go there. So we're moving to a new office. We're just rolling out ConnectWise internally across the whole entire business.
And for the listeners, what's ConnectWise?
ConnectWise is a professional services automation tool, CRM tool. It'll help us with the project delivery. It'll help us with managing customer relationships, procurement, and the whole entire journey from start to finish. The next 12 months for us is looking really interesting. I've got a few things potentially that could happen in terms of acquisition.
Wow.
Can we have the listeners hear about that?
No, top secret.
Yeah, top secret.
Okay.
And then it's all about how do we further differentiate ourselves in the customer journey. So I've got something on the boil at the minute that when it's launched, it'll be absolutely phenomenal for our customers. So giving them the ability to work closer with us. We've got some solutions that we're launching, our own cloud-based services. And it's just a drive on with the sustainability message. And I think this year's going to be an even bigger year for HPE with us as well. So we're on the HPE Green Lake journey. We're doing really well with those guys. I think that's going to really spur on over the next 12 months. And fingers crossed, we may end up having a few more technology consultants on board. And who knows? Who knows?
Daniel, we have a closing tradition on this podcast. And I am going to put you on the spot of it because I didn't pre-warn you about who they would recommend as a future guest. And so I'd like you to recommend someone that's maybe either you've worked for as a customer or in the IT channel that's inspired you, or maybe that inspired you to start a business, whatever it is that you think that the IT channel listeners would like to hear from. So who would you recommend?
There's a couple of people I'm thinking. One would be...
you could name two.
One would be Matt Harris from HPE. I think if you could get him, it'd be phenomenal. Listening to his message, how he talks and what he brings along to customers, be fantastic.
I did have a chat with him at the HPE festival actually. So I'll tag Matt on this podcast
and then the potential would be maybe down the distribution route. Mm-hmm. So I'd really like you to possibly have a chat with a lady called Rebecca Benzie from Ingram Micro.
Okay.
She's an external, works with us. We've worked with her for years. She's phenomenal, but she knows everything about Ingram Micro. She knows everything about the internal workings of distribution.
Fantastic.
And she's brilliant. She's really funny. She's class. I'd really like Rebecca, to be honest.
Great. You've been a great guest. Thanks so much for your time, Daniel.
Thank you. Cheers. Thanks.